You're listening to Cinema Rex. It's an Iranian film podcast, episode 47. Saeed Rustai's Just 6.5, or Metri Shishonim, or Law of Tehran, depending on what part of the world you live
Wait, which one do you like more? I like Law of Tehran more.
I like the Farsi title the most.
Well, yeah, I think the Farsi title is like...
Metri Shishonim rolls off the tongue.
Yeah, I agree. But I do like Law of Tehran sounds.
Just 6.5 is terrible.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
6.5 is
yeah, it doesn't work. It does not work. You want to see my Criterion haul?
Yes, I'd like to see your...
Well, my BMV... Well, it's my BMV haul that I did recently. Only one of them is Criterion. I got No Bears from BMV around the corner.
Heard of it.
And then a director friend, Peter Huang, got me or gave me a copy of The Last Emperor. And he gave me a copy of...
Classic Iranian film.
Yeah, classic. And Punch Drunk Love, also a classic Iranian film.
Beautiful.
But I also...
Anderson John.
Yeah, Anderson John. I also picked up Kandahar by Makhmalbaf.
Yes. We have to do that one day.
We should, yeah. And then Mercury film, Layla, which weirdly, in some releases, is subtitled a film from Abbas Kiarostami, which I wonder if it's like a weird misprint or something.
We'll never know. I mean, who's the distributor? Get them on the phone.
French company, Cinema Master Class. Also, the other film I also got the Katsi trilogy. Do you know this?
Yeah, I remember that. Remind me what it is again?
Koyana Skatsi, Pawa Katsi, and Nakoya Katsi. I've only seen the first one. It's directed by... Really? Okay. It's directed by Godfrey Reggio.
Okay.
It's a experimental documentary trilogy.
Oh. That's probably why. I don't...
Philip Glass's... It's basically like... It's like a really long, cool music video.
I see.
The music is incredible. The cinematography is incredible. And like the direction is pretty good.
No, I knew it didn't make sense for you to have seen a movie I hadn't seen. So I was like, this doesn't track. But then when you say it's non-narrative...
Yeah.
Okay, that tracks.
Non-narrative, experimental specifically. Because I feel like you've definitely seen more documentaries than I have.
That's the one that's published by Barsho.
By who?
Barsho?
Who's that?
Durud Barshoma. Durud Barshoma Dustan Aziz. It's the Cinerex podcast where we talk all things Iranian film, cinema, art, language, literature, television, scripts, acting, the crack cocaine epidemic in Iran, imprisonment, police crime thrillers. What else do we talk about?
Raids in the middle of highways.
Raids in the middle of highways.
Through the bushes.
I'm Kaveh Mohebi.
And I'm Farhan Moradi. What are we commenting on today, Kaveh?
A film with many titles and so much subject matter. As we mentioned off the top, this has at least 3 titles that I know of. I had first heard of it from an Iranian friend who, when he first heard I was doing a podcast on Iranian cinema, he said, "Oh, have you seen Metri Shishonim?" And I'm like, "Mehdi who?" And he's like, "No, Metri Shishonim." I'm like, "No, that sounds like a cool title." And then when I discovered it, it was Just 6.5 in English, which is a terrible title. Yeah. And also Law of Tehran, which it's a better title, but I don't think it's a great
Law of
title.
Tehran and the poster design make it feel like you're going to watch like Iranian Bad Boys or like Iranian Man on Fire.
Yeah.
I was like, that's what I was excited for.
It's closer to that type of movie than most Iranian movies we've seen or done episodes on so far.
I guess, but like, I don't know. I feel like it's still like a...
For the record, too, if you want, this film is all over YouTube. Like, there's 3 copies I found on YouTube. I watched this on YouTube. It's a good quality copy. It has subtitles in English as well. So if you want to watch it with someone who doesn't speak Farsi, or if you yourself don't speak Farsi, if you literally type in Just 6.5 full film, you'll find it. Or if you type Metri Shishonim, like Metri 6.5, you'll find, or Shish being Shish, you'll find it. It's very findable. Or Law of Tehran full movie. Let me jump into plot summary, and then we'll talk about our reactions.
Do it.
Farron, give us the plot summary music that we always play every episode. Sing it. What is plot summary? In this high-octane, gripping crime thriller...
Sorry. You want me to stop
octane... Yes. It's just to introduce the thing. In this high-octane, gripping crime thriller, Detective Samad goes on a relentless hunt to track down drug kingpin Nasser. Samad hopes that the arrest of Nasser will help control this escalating problem of drug addiction that is wreaking havoc in the city. However, Samad's quest for Nasser leads him down a path rife with corruption and shifting morality, one where Samad can't trust anyone. It has a 95% Rotten Tomato score and an 86% audience score. This is highly rated. Well, I ask you, Farhan June, what did you think of Live Tehran, just 6.5 Metri Shishoni?
I thought it was pretty decent. I went into it admittedly, I went into it expecting more of like an action film. So there's definitely parts that I was a little disappointed with, but then there were other parts that I was very pleasantly surprised by. It's funny, the opening sequence, it's a chase scene. And I feel like that kind of...
A breathtaking chase scene.
I know. That chase scene kind of really encompasses my feeling of this movie overall, where I'm seeing this chase scene and I'm like, I feel like this is supposed to be exciting and there's exciting music, but it's just back-to-back shots of like one guy running through a street and another guy chasing after him. It's just like, oh, he's running down the street. Next shot. Oh, he's running down the street. Next shot. Oh, he's running down the street. Like there's nothing. It's not like in a James Bond movie where like they climb up a thing and then he throws the thing behind him. Like,
yeah, it's never gonna be the James Bond
even
scene.
Just
though.
like
that James Bond scene was like
even
a
just
height
like
of its time.
where's the two guys who are like moving a piece of glass, like the two movers moving a piece of glass out the back of out the back of a door while they have to like dive through it or around it or whatever.
It's
or
not
like,
an itchy and scratchy sketch.
Or like there's like no obstacles. But and the other side of me was like, I was thinking about it. I was like, oh, the cinematography is very grounded, which is very true to Iranian cinema, the way that it was shot, like the color correction too. And then I was thinking like, oh wait, if this was an American chase scene set in Iran, the color grading would be like everything would be like yellow and like look really hot.
Yeah.
So that was one thing for me. And then,
but I'm glad they didn't do that.
I know. No, I am too. And then the end of the chase scene where he like jumps into a hole and like I went back and rewatched that shot multiple times. But when he goes and jumps in the hole, he like sees that there's a hole, jumps in, and then he's surprised to fall into the hole. And then, so like that was a little bit of like a leap in logic. And then when the camera pulls back, in one shot, you see him inside the hole. The camera tilts up and pulls back, and the bulldozer pushes the dirt on him. I had to watch it like 5 times to figure out how they shot it because it was done so well.
Yeah, it's really done well. How do they do it?
So in like towards the camera, they've dug out like a little hole.
That's what I figured.
And so as the camera pulls back, they give him a cue. He runs into the hole, and then they bury the dirt. Because like the way it's shot, it's done very well. So all that to say, that opening sequence summarizes my feelings of the film, where it's like it's shot very much like an Iranian film. An American film would have done it like very corny, over the top, even like down to the color grading. It does leave a little bit to be desired, but when things are done well, they're done very well. That's kind of my overall feelings of the film. What about you?
Well, I think there's a lot to unpack here with this film. I think this is a film that talks about dead ends and the impossibility of situations that you find yourself faced in.
Yeah.
What I loved about the opening scene is I think the action scene, I liked it. I thought the chase scene was great. The fact that we're kicking this entire film off with a set piece, just a breath of fresh air for Iranian cinema.
Yeah.
And then that ending literally was, I gasped when he fell in the hole. And then the irony of him getting away. Like, they talk about this later on in the film, that They never found the guy.
Yeah, they think he got away. Yeah.
And the irony is he jumped into a hole that the bulldozer guy didn't see there was a person there and buried him alive.
Yeah.
This is the first 3 minutes of the film, and you're like, wow, this is so fascinating because it's just like an impossible situation. Nobody wins.
Yeah.
It's like tragic for everyone. The cop chasing him is like, man, he got away. I failed as a cop.
Yeah.
The guy trying to run is like, I've put myself in this horrible situation.
Yeah.
Like I literally flung myself into death's door.
Did you notice that was done in one shot?
Yeah.
It was a crazy shot. Like I'm not exaggerating.
Yeah.
I went back and watched it multiple times to figure it out.
Yeah. I didn't, but I figured that he probably went into a hole somewhere to hide, like facing the camera. But the thing is, again, like a lot of Great Iranian films, what this manages to unpack for its audience is this idea of really dramatizing the idea that people are in impossible situations they can't escape from. You know, you have various characters who are facing the death penalty. You have these moral conditions for each character that, again, like so many Great Iranian filmmakers do, have them shifting, have you as the audience shifting your like alliances and allegiances with people. Like at one moment you're with the cop, then you are forced to question his motives. Then you're like obviously like really against the guy who's a drug dealer, but then he'll explain something that kind of feels, at least in my opinion, a little bit justified. Like he'll go into a backstory about why he got in this situation. You're like, oh, I totally understand. Like you being a drug dealer is not a great thing, but it's a means of survival if you're facing death and you need to feed a family of 10. And the systems that have been put in place have the cards stacked so against you that you are going to lose or die trying. So I really like that aspect of it. I think from a bigger picture pushing out, and we will get into details specifically later, there are moments I think like structurally the arc to me doesn't feel, there's a lot of stuff that kind of felt loose, not tied together. There was times I kept thinking the story's going to go in one direction, and if it's going to go in this direction, oh, it's going to be this kind of film. And it wouldn't go that way, and that's fine, but it just almost felt like, why set up things if you're not going to pay them off in a certain way?
I had the same thought. There, like, it was almost too straightforward at times, where it was like, like at the beginning of the movie, if you're watching it, you're like, okay, the movie's going to do this. Like, it's going to go down a straight line. This is the line that the detective thinks that he's going to go down. And multiple times, as you mentioned, there's moments that pop up where you're like, oh, this is where it's going to get diverted. And then it doesn't happen. And then it just like continues down the detective's plan. And you're like, oh, I almost feel like there was a little more conflict or a little more like twists and turns.
There was a brief moment in the film, and I guess this is spoilers for people. I mean, not really. I'm telling you what's not going to happen. And so like you should watch the film. I think I'd recommend watching the film anyways, but you can find it on YouTube.
Just like at this point, if you want to see this movie, stop the podcast now and go watch it, because we're going to get into spoilers.
Yeah. But at one point I was convinced that Peyman Maadi character, the main cop who's on this like relentless hunt to find the drug dealer, I thought it was going to have this weird Kaiser Soze moment, like Usual Suspects.
Like a reveal at the end where he's like...
that he's been behind all of it. Like he might be Reza Japoni or whatever.
I was thinking
and
that. Or that he took a bribe.
Took a bribe, or that he's always been behind it. Like I thought there was some bigger play at hand that never came to be, and I was like, there was no need to. Here's my main thing. I want people, listeners, to know this. I think pound for pound, scene for scene, it has some of the best writing I've seen in an Iranian film in a long time. This is the director of Layla's Brothers, by the way.
Yeah.
And I actually think Layla's Brothers is a better film as in a complete arc, like story beginning, middle, and end.
I agree.
But I think some of the best writing I've seen a character speak in a monologue in its individual scenes, and we'll get to them later, was some of the most powerful stuff. I think the acting in this is so good.
Yeah, I agree.
And so if you take these individual scenes that, you know, at times might not play cohesively as a collective whole, but play that individual scene, it's breathtaking. Like it's almost like enter that into Oscar nomination category for best actor.
Yeah.
Like the drama between three characters in the back of a van as it's driving is so powerful.
Yeah.
That like you have to applaud the writing. Like, I think the writing is so good in this film.
Yeah.
Moment to moment. Did you notice that first time they barge into that door when they find the first drug dealer, he's not home. His wife and child are there and she's trying to protect him. Remember what that drug dealer's name was?
Yeah, Moradi.
Yeah, he's a family member of yours, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
But what I really liked about that scene was the woman's loyalty to her husband.
Yeah.
Was so impressive.
There's a lot of
Like,
that.
she's
There's
swearing
like
up-
they show multiple times that there's a lot of these like impoverished addicts who are very loyal to one another. Like constantly we see it.
Yeah.
Except for the one guy with his son, but his son is very loyal with him.
His son's very loyal with him. Yeah, because you're talking about the guy who had the physical handicap.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That was really great to see. Like the woman, when they barge into her house, keeps swearing up and down that her husband hasn't done anything wrong. He's just out buying groceries. When he finally comes to the door, before the cops can get to him, she like screams to her husband to be like, "The cops are here, don't come."
Yeah. There's a bunch of times where they set that up well, where it like shows someone trying to alert people around them.
Yeah.
They do that a few times, and I think it's done very well. It's very realistic. You know what I thought they were going to do? There's a point where the drug dealer tries to implicate the officer. Mm-hmm. I thought that when they go to search his house, they'd find out that the kingpin guy had his buddies outside prison go rig his apartment. Or we'd get something like Seven, where like they go to his house and then they see like his wife has been killed or something.
I found myself trying to find those connective tissues a lot. Like a lot of the first act is our main detective, Samad, who catches a guy who wants the name of the next guy so he can get that guy to get the name of the next guy.
Yeah.
You know, it's like first he catches that drug dealer, Moradi, your cousin.
Yeah.
And Moradi leads him to like, okay, well, who did you get the drugs from? He's like, Hassan the cow.
Yeah.
Right? So he gets Hassan the cow. And Hassan the cow like eventually gets him to like the niece, the girlfriend. His niece is the girlfriend of Nasser Khakzad. And Nasser Khakzad is apparently the big drug kingpin. So he gets the niece and like she was once in love with Nasser and she gives the location. And then he finally gets Nasser Khakzad, and then Nasser Khakzad is talking about how it's not him, it's Reza Japoni. And it's like a lot of the first half of the film is this like ladder that he's climbing, trying to get closer and closer to the person who's like the head kingpin.
And then it just stops.
Well, and then because then the story just follows Nasser Khakzad. It becomes about this cat and mouse game between the two of them.
Yeah.
Nasser Khakzad played by Navid Mohammed Reza, and Samad played by Peyman Mahdi.
It's crazy how much of this cast is the same cast from Layla's Brothers.
Yeah, I mean, I checked his other films. Syed Rushdie works with this guy both of these guys all the time.
Yeah,
they're in all his films. I think shorts too.
But even like the supporting cast, like all four of the brothers, the sister, like all five of the siblings are in this.
The other gentleman, I'll tell you his name in a second. Farhad Aslani.
Yeah,
who played the judge.
Yeah.
He's like the heavier guy. Yeah, he's one of the brothers.
Is he the judge, or he's like the police commissioner or something? What is he? Is he the judge?
No, he was
DA?
the judge. They were taking. He's like the one who's.
Judge?
No, he's like when they're taking him to court and they're doing the things. He's like the judge.
By the way, I love how like people always joke about how in Iran the law doesn't really matter, like police and detectives and like soldiers, IRGC, like everybody, anyone in any kind of position of power will do what they want and just like justify it however they want, which like narratively in this movie makes this guy seem like Batman because
Payman,
because he gets away. Like there's the scene where he's talking to the girl and she's like she keeps changing the subject every time he's like asking a question, and he's like, every time you change the subject, I'll throw you in jail for another week. And I'm like, I don't think that's how the law works, but I don't doubt that you can do that in Iran.
Yeah. Just for the record, listeners of the Cinema Rex podcast, we'd like to take this moment to applaud the fact that we have beat a first-time record of the fastest mention of Batman by Farhad in a podcast. At 27 minutes in, we have our first Batman reference, guys. 27 minutes in, that is a new record. Let's hear it for Farhad, everybody. Woo!
I I bet you it's probably going to be even less once we edit it down.
Yes, okay, you're right.
Yeah.
It certainly will, actually.
Pull out your phone and clock it. Keep a personal scorecard. We'll see if we can beat it in a future episode.
Yeah. I also want to shout out this really great character moment for Samad, where as he's dealing with all these different like people. That's not that film. This would be a totally different film if it was that guy. But he's dealing with all these like different little like people he's brought in. He's questioning them. He takes them aside. At one point, he goes, "Who put this folder at my desk?" He grabs a green folder. I don't know if you caught this moment.
Yeah.
And then he goes up to the other room and there's a younger soldier, kind of like guy, and he's like, "Did you?" He said, "I left it on, sir. Sorry, sir." And he says, "Someone tack on another week to his required service, so he'll remember not to leave this folder on again." Yeah. And it has nothing to do with anything. But it's this character moment of how this guy's so no nonsense.
Yeah.
That this one guy leaving a folder on his desk, he's like, because this is the required military stuff they have to do, right? So he's like, tack on another week of him having to do this so he remembers not to leave another folder on my desk.
Yeah.
And it's like, this guy, that's a cool character moment. It has nothing to do with the plot. It takes a microsecond of scene time, and he's just like, you just get that much more of him. Like, he is not lenient.
He's so no nonsense. I actually wrote this down. I was like, I love how... I wrote, I love his no nonsense cop voice. Every time he breaks into it, and he's like, like he loses it, and I'm like, this guy sounds like every angry 70-year-old Iranian man I've ever met.
Yeah, he's Payman Mahdi's so good at that. It's separation, and when he has that big fight with him too. Remember the other actor?
Yeah,
he's so good at those moments where he just has this explosive rage for a moment.
But really I specifically feel like his rage in this movie is very different than his rage in that movie. You know what I mean? And
totally different rage, but he does it always though. He does it once a film, I think.
Yeah, 100%. This to me is like, it's like when you're watching these like American cop films and there's that like one disgruntled, angry, no nonsense cop. And the way that they're talking, you're like, yo, this guy's no nonsense. He's old fashioned, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then what I really liked about the first act, there's two things I want to point out. I was thinking about putting this in deeper analysis, but it's not really enough meat on it. But when Nasser Khakzad goes to get his photo taken, did you notice he stands right behind the Islamic emblem that's on the Iranian flag? And it's actually sitting like it's crosshairs in his head.
Yeah.
If you notice, he's like right direct center as if it's like a scope on his head.
Yeah.
Which, is that subtle commentary? Is that pro? Is that anti? What is that saying? I mean, I know the filmmaker is like, probably rather anti. I mean, he works within the establishment in Iran, but he's been imprisoned.
Yeah.
He was in prison for 6 months for Layla's brothers. Was he? For release.
Why?
For submitting the film to Cannes. Because he wasn't allowed to submit the film to Cannes.
Oh my God.
So they imprisoned him for 6 months.
Oh, wait. Can I say one last thing? I just pulled up the shot where you're like, it's like he's in the crosshairs. Not only is he in the crosshairs, but the way it's framed when it like cuts in on him, it also kind of looks like he has devil horns because of the.
Oh yeah, because of the way it's popping out.
Yeah.
The last thing I'll say about the first act is what a really interesting moment is when he's finally caught, and I mean finally because Payman Mahdi's character has been searching him for like months or years or whatever, and Nasser Khakzad is like doing everything in his power not to get his photo taken and not to get his fingerprints taken, and he's scratching his fingers against the wall. Trying to destroy his fingerprints, and a cop noticed him doing that. And then finally he gets his fingerprints taken, and he's just about to leave the room, and you see him smile. Do you notice him? He smiles?
Yeah.
And then they're like, we don't have someone by that name. Or it's something like, that's not his name on our record.
Yeah.
We don't have someone. And I was like, oh, that's a really cool twist. Is like, is he even that guy?
Yeah.
That's where I started thinking that I was like, I thought that's one of the examples of where I thought the plot was going to go in a totally different direction, where like, he's not even the kingpin. He's like seventh in line or something.
Yeah.
But it was such a cool twist because you just realize that like there's so much, not only mismanagement on the police force, but there's so much like double. I don't know what the word is I'm trying to think of, but it's like they're everybody's disguised. Like he always talks about this guy like Reza Japoni.
Yeah.
Who we never see in the film, right? We don't ever see this guy.
Yeah.
Whether or not even he's the Kaiser Soze of this film. Apparently he's the big boss.
Yeah.
Who we never even see, who is apparently pulling all the strings.
Well,
but we like at one point I was like, "Is Khakzad Japoni?"
Well, and like, he also says like he also says it's like Reza Japoni is his like co-captain, right?
Yeah,
but he's like, but then everything that he talks about with like what they do and what gets done, it sounds like he was really in charge of everything. You know what I mean? Where it's like, oh, I didn't kill those people. I didn't take these people. I only did this to help people, blah, 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 all this stuff. And it's like, well, then what did you contribute? Like, why are you co-captains with this guy if you didn't contribute anything? You know what I mean? Which was made me a little confused.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
When we're talking about clarity and stuff, do you remember when Nasser Khokzad is captured and he's offering a bribe? First, Samad says, no, I'll never take it. Yeah. And then he says, okay, raise it by this much. In that moment, did you think, okay, first I thought he's totally playing with him, but then for a split second, I'm like, maybe he's serious. Like, is Samad actually considering a bribe?
Yeah.
And I didn't know what the intention was. Was I just confused, or was the intention to be like, he's just messing with him?
I think he's just messing with him.
The whole time, right? He's never considering for even a second?
I don't think he was. Okay. And I think part of it was to also like kind of trick the audience a little, where the audience was to think like, oh, he's gonna flip, whatever, and then he does it, and you're like, that's our guy, that's our no nonsense. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where like, I almost would have liked if we thought he was gonna flip or something. The other thing is, seeing that scene made me think that in the third act, his partner would flip on him. And then we find out that his partner did take that deal from him. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Especially because he had already angered the partner. Like, there were so many things that were set up. There's so many red herrings in this movie that things are set up and then you don't pay them off. And it's like, you don't have to pay them off. But it's like, I would almost rather...
It's just deliberately misleading.
Yeah.
It's like misleading to the audience.
I would rather the opposite. I would rather the movie, you think that this is going to be straightforward, and that's the red herring, and then you actually follow up on the twists and turns and the seeds that are planted, as opposed to planting seeds in plain sight that don't go anywhere, and then you just continue to follow a straight line.
Can you even explain to me what that thing was? Like, his partner ends up taking which deal? Because I actually had that as a question. His partner takes a deal, but I didn't know.
No, his partner didn't end up taking a deal. Near the beginning of the movie, right after the set piece, there's this one conversation between the three main police officers in the car. There's Peyman Mahdi's character. There's the guy who's like kind of in line with him. They're the same rank, but on this mission specifically, he falls below rank of Samad. And then there's the third character who's an officer who's actually slightly below rank of both of them, right?
Yeah.
So it's those three characters. We're seeing them driving, and they're in a massive argument. And in that one argument, there's so much exposition that basically gives all the backstory so that we understand what everybody's motivations are in the scene, what's going on, who's who the bad guys are, and what their mission is. Which is like, it's done very concisely, but it's almost like information overload in a 20-second scene. And it's easy to miss stuff. But the gist of it is, Samad previously apprehended a suspect, but the suspect either deposed of the drugs or the drugs got lost. And we don't know what happened to it. Which I thought was like a smoking gun that would be paid off later, which it wasn't.
So did I. I remember that.
Yeah, which would have played into what your theory, Kaveh, where you're like, oh, what if he is implicated? This would have tied into that, right? Yeah. But then so that is on his record, and it's currently being investigated by IA, Internal Affairs, right? So park that. Now, in the opening sequence, the second in command,
the second guy is stealing them. He loses the guy, but finds
the drugs. And so Samad is like, listen, I can't fill that report out because then I'm going to have 2 investigations under my belt, and they'll have to put me in holding while they investigate both. Yeah. But your record is clean, and you're technically the guy who was chasing him, so I want you to fill it out. So then we each have one thing on our record, and the guy doesn't want to do it. And that guy, the second in command, also believes that the kingpin had his son killed, his child killed.
Yeah.
So that leads to a lot of tension between them because he keeps wanting to get revenge on the kingpin guy, and he's refusing to fill out that other form. And so Samad holds him. He arrests him and keeps him in holding until for disobeying orders.
Yeah.
And we also see the kingpin observe them fighting. So it nicely sets up, and prior to all of this, we saw the Kingpin tell them it wasn't me, it was this Reza guy. And we've seen him try to bribe everybody around him, and he's insanely rich. So my thinking was all of this was being set up so that in the third act of the film, we can reveal that the Kingpin took advantage of this guy's vulnerabilities and his angers with his partner and pretend like the partner was stealing those 2 extra kilos, planting stuff in his apartment when they're like, go search his apartment. And then when they called in the partner to testify that like, oh yeah, I witnessed it, it was only X amount of kilos, the suspect is lying, that he was going to flip on him. Payman Mahdi's character was going to go to jail. This guy was going to be let off, and then the main partner would get the promotion. That's
the deal you're talking about.
It was like very nicely set up that this was going to be the twist of the third act, and it like went literally nowhere.
I remembered all that. I just forgot about the fact that I guess I didn't catch the part where the Kingpin, Nasser Khakzad, had told the number 2 in command, had offered him this deal, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Because there is a lot of like, that's the interesting Iranianness of it, the morality thing that Farhadi has a lot. This moral conundrum of like, now Samad has to go and help out his colleague who he's trying to somewhat kind of throw under the bus. Yeah. But he has to help him to clear his own name. You remember that one point where like he has to go sign a contract saying now it happened the other way. He has to sign a testimony to like get his own name out of the 2 kilos that are missing. Yeah. It's like now these people have like had to twist and turn the truth so much that they're the cops are turning on each other. And now they've turned on each other so much that they can't actually get their work done properly because they don't trust one another. That's kind of the interesting thing on the journey that they're going on, which is the morality thing. Other thing is, again, I got to give shout out to Saeed Rustai. The children acting is some of the best children acting
insanely good. Insanely good.
The young girl at the beginning, I'm guessing if Moradi's your cousin, your little niece.
Yeah.
The Moradi,
first cousin the little girl, actually.
When she cries saying, I want to study, I have exams tomorrow. That's genuinely real. Like that seems so real.
What you don't know is that the ghost of Abbas Kiarostami was actually on set that day, and he like pulled this girl. He pulled this girl out of her study session and was like smacking her with her own binder.
And then the little boy who has to end up stealing drugs for his father, like some pain medication. And that's a whole kind of thread that also kind of doesn't go anywhere, but it's still interesting.
I did like, you know what I thought was a really nice touch in that scene? They like dirtied up his face a lot so that when he was crying, you can like very clearly see the streaks of tears down his face. I know it's like a really dumb detail, but it is a detail that I feel like a lot of filmmakers in the moment when they're making the scene would like forget to add. So like legit, kudos to the director and kudos to the makeup department.
Yeah, I think those are my big main our reaction notes without going to other stuff. This film has a huge cast of extras.
Yeah, massive. Absolutely massive.
In that room, when they have them a holding cell, they have like what I felt was almost like 100 men.
I feel like there was almost too many. I actually made a note. I was like, this is too many people for them to have to deal with while they're investigating this guy. Like, they didn't need to go in. Like, that whole raid that they do in the homeless encampment. They didn't need to do that. That doesn't tie into the investigation at all.
I just figured they're just getting them not for this investigation, but just getting them.
I guess.
For drug use. But I have to say that scene was also beautiful. Like, those homeless encampments was a beautiful like location. Yeah. They're all living in these like little cement cylinders. Yeah. It's like this like disheveled apartment of like little like holes that they're living in.
There's a really cool there's a cool dolly shot that tracked across while they're all running through the cylinders. It was cool.
Yeah. So we're sort of in agreement here that they do set up a lot. I think that's by design. It's like I think like all of these little mini subplots are left to disorient you as a viewer, to be like not knowing who to trust and where this is going to go. Culminating in eventually, the one thing that really makes Nasser Khakzad crack under pressure is the realization that he might lose his house and his family, who's been living abroad, might be forced to come back to Iran, which is the only. He's like, you could do anything to me, you could execute me, you could whatever, but do not bring my family back. I did all of this for them, and then of course they do bring him back.
Yeah. Have you seen the movie The Raid?
Yeah.
Did you like it?
I didn't like it as much as people told me I would.
Did you see the sequel?
Yeah.
Did you like the sequel?
I liked it more.
Yeah. Okay.
I liked it more.
So there's a lot of things that are set up in this that I feel like if he capitalized on, and he might still do it, but if he capitalized on the success of this film and made a way bigger budget sequel, I think the same way that The Raid 2 takes the world of The Raid and like expands on it a crazy amount, and it becomes like, it goes from being this like grounded action film in one location to this massive like investigation film with crazy action, really good cinematography, et cetera, et cetera. And it follows every single thread through to the end, to the top of the criminal organization. Like, I feel like this movie would really benefit from a big budget sequel, because a lot of these things that are set up, I think you could get really excellent payoff in a sequel, down to the thing of how at the end of the movie, it's teed that the bad guy's brother, Vahid, has gotten a hold of the Japoni, and he wants to continue the criminal enterprise and use that money and those resources to prevent the courts from seizing the house. So I want to see that through. Sorry, go ahead.
The only reason I'd push back against that is I feel like the film said what the director has intended on the point of the film being, which I will get into in deeper analysis. But I think like the film makes its like thesis statement.
Yeah.
Like it like even these subplots not closing off, I think like even if you were to close them off, you're still ending up with the same theme.
Yeah.
Thematic statement.
Yeah.
Moral of the story has been stated by the end. But of course, as it ends, as you probably know, as we're spoiling it for you, or you've watched the film, Nasser Khakzad is walked to the gallows. He faces his death by hanging.
Yeah.
And we are left with Paymon's character, Samad, sitting in a car, possibly days later, where a window cleaner comes, like a squeegee guy comes and cleans his window.
The squeegee guy.
Leaves him with you see like an impoverished, sort of broken down look on Samad's face.
Yeah. Squeegee guy is actually, he's a superhero known famously in Tehran. That's his that's a superhero name. Squeegee guy.
Yeah.
I thought Squeegee guy, I was like, this is our twist. Squeegee guy's gonna pull a gun on him and be like, Japoni sends his regards, and then shoot him or something.
You really thought that was gonna happen?
I was like, there's gotta be some twist. Or when he goes to pay him, he pulls out like a massive wad of cash and pays him from that. And then it's revealed that he had texted the number to get the money. And that's why he quit the job. Like, I was like, there's got to be something, but I don't know.
I didn't think there would be. I feel like that moment leaves. I'll expand on this in deeper analysis, but I feel that moment just kind of like he's seeing the poverty of the world.
Yeah.
And he's caught his guy. He's now sent him to his execution. What difference did it make?
Yeah.
Like realistically, all of this hard work, all this pain, all this suffering, what change has he made in this society?
It's like
that he's so actively out to try to change and rid the street of drug dealers. It's like, that's the kind of, I think, moral of the still. It's like he's faced with this impossible situation of like, you can't change this. The problem is systemic. It's not this one drug dealer.
Yeah.
So you killed one drug dealer. Great. You didn't solve anything in the city.
Yeah.
That's kind of the feeling he's left with.
Yeah. I mean, I think it would have almost made that point more if he did get shot.
BTS and trivia. I only have like 5 mini facts. These are more recent films. I don't have my Hamid Nafisi information to pull from.
Okay.
Because those books go up till 2010.
Yeah. He's got to do a new one.
But behind the scenes trivia, worth noting that according to some IMDb stats that probably are more reliable than I am, drug trafficking is the leading crime in Iran, with over 50% of drugs produced in Afghanistan transitioning through the country. 3% of Iranians are addicted to drugs, mostly opioids, and as the consequence, the country's police are very active in prevention of drug trafficking. They have seized 80% of the drugs captured worldwide, at great loss of life of police officers. That last part I don't understand. Makes sense. 80% of the drugs captured worldwide is captured in Iran. That doesn't sound right.
Also, leading cause after everything the IRGC does.
Yeah. The film won the Audience Choice Award, the Crystal Seymour, at the 37th Fajr Film Festival. This is Saeed Rustai's second feature film. His first one is Life and a Day, which also stars Pam Mahdi and Navid Mohammed Riza. And they're both also in Layla's Brothers. Again, these guys all work together. This is Iran's highest grossing domestic movie, not including comedies.
That's crazy. I had to think about that for a second.
In June of 2025, which is literally a month ago, Saeed Rustai was invited to join the director's branch of the Academy of Motion Pictures Arts and Science. And there's also, if you're interested in seeing more behind the scenes, there's I saw a 30-minute video of the making of this film on YouTube. Mm-hmm. It's like the making of Just 6.5 is the title. It's just behind the scenes footage. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, there's no narration, there's no story, there's no one leading you. It's just literally you're watching them work. So there was nothing specifically, there was no facts coming out of it of when we shot. It's just
B-roll of BTS.
It's B-roll of BTS.
I bet you there's, if we can get our hands on a DVD copy of it, there's probably a BTS documentary on it. Because they wouldn't have shot all of that if they didn't plan on doing something with it.
Maybe it's just also there might be audio commentary. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
But it's like them doing table reads. You're seeing the actors rehearsing the lines at a table read.
Yeah.
Building the sets, building some of the prison sets and rehearsing with the cast. It was just kind of I watched the first 10 minutes and then I'm like, no one's going to say anything, is there?
Yeah.
Through the rest.
Is that it for what you've got?
That's it. Behind the scenes trivia.
2 quick things I want to mention. There's a scene with a girl with no hijab on.
Really? Where?
When everyone's in the crowd, all the men, and they've made them all strip down, and 3 people won't take their clothes off, and they're like, "Are you 3 deaf? Why won't you take your clothes off?" And they're like, "Well, we can't. We're women." 2 of them are wearing hats. 1 is not wearing a hat, and the hair is clearly visible. And I went back to check to see if it was a wig, and it looks like real hair. So the only other thing I can think of is that
it's a guy.
That's a guy. And that they maybe ADR'd the voice or something.
Yeah.
And then
or they just snuck one in.
Maybe
snuck one in past them.
Maybe. And then the other thing that I wanted to mention was this is like a little bit of a tinfoil theory. Do you remember how with the deer they changed the ending of it after the first screening? And the ending was that instead of having a shootout with the cops, that he convinces the guy to turn himself in. Well, he shoots his friend, turns himself in, and he gets arrested. Do you remember what the reasoning was for the censorship of that?
I guess it wasn't a criticism against the Shah?
Not the Shah. Yes, but they also wanted to be we don't want the world to think that our police are corrupt and bad.
Yeah.
So my suspicion is that in an earlier draft of this film, all these threads that we're talking about culminated in one of the other police officers turning out to be corrupt.
That's interesting.
And maybe even being Japoni or being affiliated with Japoni.
Yeah.
And that they made the writer change the script to be straightforward. That's my theory.
That's possible, but I feel like that would be such a drastic decision to change that based on your intentions that I'd feel like it's not enough to just remove that last element and keep the film as is. You'd have to probably just come up with a different ending.
I mean, unless he wanted the breadcrumbs to remain. The deer definitely has that. The original cut of the deer, all those breadcrumbs are still there, and then the ending, all of a sudden, the guy shoots his friend, and then the police arrest him. And apparently at the time, people knew that that's not the original ending. It had rumors had spread across the audiences, and people knew that no, in the real ending, this is what happens. So I wonder if it was a similar thing where he was I'm going to leave the breadcrumbs there so people know what my original intention was for the ending. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I have no evidence to support that.
That's possible, yeah. No, it's a valid enough theory, at very least. Valid.
Yeah. Critical reactions?
Yeah, critical reactions. I have a few worth mentioning here. Mark Kermode, who's a critic I really like. He's a British, he writes for The Observer. He has a YouTube channel too, which is really nice. He wrote, this combines the verite grit of The French Connection with the physical slapstick of Buster Keaton. Really, it is a deliberately bewildering cocktail of brutal tragedy and gallows farce that runs throughout this very arresting feature. I didn't find it as comedic as you did.
Yeah. What? I was very confused.
I remember I heard that twice. I just think maybe like, I don't know. I don't know why he thought it was funny.
Yeah.
It wasn't. I didn't do it. It was this film. He said it. There was a poster behind it was he saying it too.
I wonder if he's talking about the slapstick of. No, I don't know. I honestly can't. I don't know. Maybe the gag with the guy in the hole?
No, it's not a gag. That's tragic. He mentions that being very tragic too.
Oh, then I don't know. I have no idea what this guy's talking about. I wonder if like midway through he sat on the remote and changed the channel. Peter Bradshaw starts watching Samad. He's like, oh, there he is. He's like, I don't know why half of this movie is a Buster Keaton slapstick, but I guess the Samad guy is like, he like can't tell Sakhar Ostavar apart from the judge. He's the same people.
Yeah. Peter Bradshaw from The Guardian said, if Michael Mann made a movie in Iran, it might look like this. A ferocious drama thriller in which a haunted, morally ambiguous cop faces off with a despairing drug lord. That is the big takeaway I want. I kept thinking of Heat, even though Heat isn't about like trying to track down drug dealers.
Yeah.
It's about trying to get bank robbers. But this is very much feels like Heat.
Yeah.
Or Sicario.
Yeah.
Or any of these like high octane crime thrillers.
Yeah.
This does feel like a Michael Mann film. Very much so. That's excellent.
Well, it like feels like Michael Mann minus action.
Yeah. Writing for the website Eye for Film, a reviewer named Anton Bitel called the film a grim state of the nation commentary on Iranian society. That's it for critical reactions.
Okay. Solid. I have none. I didn't find any.
Let's do deeper analysis. I could just burn through mine because I already mentioned it. But this idea, like I sort of mentioned it at the end of our reactions, but ending on this widow cleaner, everything I said about how you just kind of left with this like defeatist sort of unwinnable war.
Yeah.
That Samad's at. Everyone's just a victim of a system rather than the actions of an individual.
Yeah.
And I feel like the deeper thing here is that like, okay, so like I said earlier, like, so what? You killed one drug dealer.
Yeah.
You've done nothing to stop this. And I think he's sitting there like in contemplation of like, what have I really done? You haven't ended the drug trade in Iran. You've barely made a dent, which is kind of what Nasser says to him.
Yeah.
There's some beautiful monologues about how he's just one cog in a system.
Yeah.
And there's a beautiful line when he says to him, when they're having their one-on-one, it almost felt like they have a few moments that feels like, here, I'll do my Batman reference. When Joker and Batman and Christopher Nolan have that face-off,
in
the cell.
Their interrogation scene. Yeah.
There's these great kind of like one-on-one things. And he goes, when the sentence for 30 grams or 500 kilos is execution, you might as well go for more and make more money to make up for your childhood woes.
Yeah, that's fair.
Which is the beautiful thing of like, he's like, literally, if I got caught with 30 grams of crack on me, my death sentence is execution.
Yeah.
My sentence is death, right?
Yeah.
So he's like, so what's the difference if I get caught with just a small amount of crack? Why not just become a drug kingpin?
Yeah.
Which is a valid point.
Yeah. I mean, the why not is you're ruining tons of people's lives, but yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But like also they're talking about like this, the severity of the death penalty at that point is not a deterrent.
Yeah, it ironically makes the situation worse. Yeah. It ironic because it's the same. Instead of being like, oh, we're going to deter junkies, what you're actually doing is creating drug lords because they're like, yeah, whatever,
exactly.
It's all the same.
Yeah. Which is what I think this is like it's such a beautiful sentiment, and it's such a like that's one of those few moments, and I'll go into like something later when I talk about best scene and damn that's poetry, but it's like Nasser Khakzad is saying these things that is like he's spitting facts, man. Like, where's the lie? Where's the lie to what he's saying?
No lie.
It's 100% accurate.
Yeah, I'm with it. I agree.
So that's my deeper analysis. It's just how broken the system is.
On that same note, like ultimately, it's a movie about dead ends. Like every single character that we see in this movie leads to a dead end. Every single character, right?
Yeah.
Every like named main character, at least. There's the like Peyman Maladi's character, obviously, right? He reaches a dead end. The only way it could have been more of a dead end is either A, he got shot at the end, or B, his wife decided she was going to leave him anyway.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Then the main character, the main bad guy, he literally gets killed. His family has all their possessions taken from them, and they literally get sent back to he literally calls it a dead end street. Like it was a street it was like their house was at the end of a dead end alleyway.
Bombast.
Yeah, Bombast. Yeah. Shout out to the other Samad, Parvi Sayed.
Yeah.
But and even the main character, even the character at the beginning of the movie in the set piece, the chase ends with a dead end. He like jumps over the thing and he ends up in a hole. He has nowhere to go, and he gets buried
alive based on his own actions.
Yes,
like his own direction led him there.
That was my other note that I wrote, is that he thinks he gets away, but he's buried by his own mistakes. Every single character goes through that. And
there's an element to, like, I had too many damn that's poetry quotes, so I'm going to just take one of them out because it mentions this. He goes, at one point when he finds out he's going to get the death sentence, Nasser Khakzad shakes his head and goes, you know what really pisses me off? That night they came to arrest me, I tried to commit suicide. I took 11 packs of pills, and if they had arrived an hour later, it would all be over. But what pisses me off is that I was already dead, but they resurrected me so they can kill me themselves.
اون شب که اینا ریختم منو بگیرن، من قبلش خودم ترتیب خودم داده بودم. 11 ورق قرص خورده بودم. 1 ساعت دیرتر میرسیدن تموم بود. من از این دارم میسوزم. من مرده بودم. اینا منو آوردن زنده کردن خودشون بکشن.
Meaning that this entire process was moot. It was a moot point.
Yeah.
You didn't need to do any of this. All you achieved by doing any of this was killing Nasser Khakzad, which he was already going to do anyways.
Yeah, and confiscating everything from his family, which he makes the point. He's like, I had just essentially rescued an entire family out of poverty and out of this cycle of poverty and crime. What you've now done is implicated them, and you're putting them all back into the same environment that created me. Yeah. He's like, they could grow up to be a monster worse than I am. Which, I want to make a point to that, is like, maybe there's some validity to it, but you could also totally make the argument that, well, no, they could eventually, when you die, there's going to need to be a new kingpin. You're probably going to like teach your brother or this girl or whatever to continue the family business.
Yeah, but his brother was already going to take over, and also there's the Reza Japoni who also was just like.
But that's what I'm saying. Is like it's like The Godfather, right? They're trying to keep Michael pure, but at the end of the day, when everybody else gets taken out, Michael has to step up and take over. So it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like they're the original, one of the original plans for like what was going to happen with The Godfather was that Michael's son, even though he had gotten clean, ends up also getting pulled back into the system for like, that's the tragedy of it, right? Is that it doesn't matter when you're using crime and you're using blood to make your wealth. Everything built on that wealth will corrupt you.
I think we've gone far enough into this podcast where it's time to bring up The Wire, and I'm hesitant to ask you, but have you watched The Wire?
I didn't finish it.
Oh my God,
hang on. And I'm going to blame...
Literally my favorite show of all time.
During COVID, Marl, myself, and her husband were watching The Wire. And Marl and I wanted to keep watching it. We were really into it. And then her husband was like, no, don't watch it without me. Don't watch it without me. Don't watch it without me. And then eventually, after like a few months of this, Marl was like, do you actually care to watch The Wire? And he's like, no, actually, I don't think I'm into it. And then I got busy with a shoot, and then I never got back to it.
Well,
I'll watch it. It is on my list.
There is a one-for-one parallel. I'm sure listeners who have either seen this movie or are listening right now are noticing. The Wire obviously being a 5-season series, 5 seasons of show, but like the idea that in The Wire, the drug dealers are not all bad guys. The cops are not all good guys.
Yeah.
You have drug dealers that are good, bad,
and
drug
ugly.
users who are good, bad, and you have cops that are good, bad,
and ugly.
And the idea of like, it's like this is the Wire, just like Law of Tehran or Metrishi Shonim, is talking about how your role that you're playing in this, good or bad, is almost, you might as well throw that out the window. Your intentions, your moralities in this, whatever. The system is so much bigger than you that you are just a chess piece playing in this game.
Yeah.
You're playing your role to survive, and it's a game of survival.
Yeah.
And you just have to play your role. And it will continue. It's never ending because the problems are higher than you. It's governments, it's politicians, it's lawmakers, it's billionaires. Is that class is going to be the one. I mean, in this case, it's the Islamic regime.
Yeah. See, that's why I kind of
fascist.
That's why I kind of wanted the movie to take it that final step to be like, oh, look, even the police are implicated or something, or like this judge or somebody, and it didn't do it.
But then I don't want them to do that because then it would feel like, well, but if this one cop wasn't corrupt, the system would have been fine. You know what I mean? It almost does the lizard thing of like, oh, everything he does is fine because he's not really a thing. Whereas the point of this is like, these guys are actually like, for all we know, they're actually trying to do the right thing and they're still handcuffed by this like system. Whereas it would be a scapegoat to be like, well, it's this broken system.
I think that's a scapegoat. I think what that does is it exonerates everyone who's working within the system. But I think that this system could not continue the way it is if there weren't corrupt individuals within the system allowing it to continue the way that it does. Because the reality is there are people in the system who are profiting off of it being this messed up.
Yeah, but not so much at the cop level. Like the ones that are corrupt at the cop level are just taking theirs while they can.
For sure.
But they can't, they're not effectual enough to make change.
I agree.
Like, they're ineffectual.
I agree wholeheartedly with what you're saying. For me, it would have been like an allegorical representation of bigger things. Do you know what I mean?
You got to watch season 4 of The Wire. Okay. Because that's literally what season 4 ends up becoming.
I will. I'm on season 1.
Do you know,
I was like almost done season 1.
Every season of The Wire tackles like a different aspect of it.
Yeah.
So like season 3 introduces a mayoral candidate who wants to like bring sweeping change to Baltimore.
Yeah.
And he becomes like one of them. He's played by Littlefinger.
Oh,
the
cool.
Actor
Okay.
Littlefinger
Yeah.
Before Littlefinger.
Yeah.
Before Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
And he's he's one of my favorite characters of the show because like, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but it's just like it's his arc journey of this like his intentions are so noble.
Yeah.
He's going to affect change.
Yeah.
And then he just like what happens to him is just like beautiful, poetic, tragic, sad.
I'll watch it. I'll watch
it. He alone is worth. I mean, the whole show is fantastic.
All
right, let's go to best scene. Should we go to best scene?
Yeah.
Or do you have more on
No,
analysis?
best scene. I'll go first.
Yeah, go.
My favorite scene is the turning point between Act 2 and 3 when they do the interrogation with the guy in the car. Like with the bad guy, where they're like, yeah, it's because of you. Like you killed that kid. You ordered that kid get killed, whatever. And then he breaks down and he's like, please, like I'll tell you everything. Like I'll do anything you want. Just don't make me out to be someone who harms children. And then he goes off on a thing. I was like, oh, that was done really well. It was like shot well. The acting was good. The writing was good.
That's my favorite scene too.
Right? It was good.
I have the exact same scene.
الان باید به کی قسم بخورم باور کنید کار من نبوده به خدا من دل این کارا رو ندارم من هر کاری تو زندگیم کردم واسه از خودم کوچیک‌تر بوده من اگه واسه خواهرم کردم واسه برادرم کردم به خدا به خاطر بچه‌هاشون بوده بچه دزدیدن کار من نیست من نمیتونم بچه بکشم
He's like, just don't implicate me on the crime of killing a child. I would never do that.
Yeah.
That I also would say, like, or just have a different scene from you. We don't have to play the clip. It's just
That's fine.
The lawyer scene at the end when he breaks down crying in front of his lawyer.
Oh, that's who that was. Okay, I made a note. I was like, who's he talking to? Is this his brother? And then we see his brother later. I was like, no, that's not his brother. Okay,
no, it's his lawyer telling him that like the sentence they couldn't get.
Yeah.
They couldn't get a
Okay, I got it now.
And then he starts talking about how like he starts talking about his girlfriend. There was the niece.
Yeah,
the second
it was very
ladder.
sweet. Yeah,
and he like breaks down crying, and I'm like, it's good.
Yeah,
it's good acting.
He's like,
good
even
scene.
though
I got,
she
like, goosebumps.
Yeah, he's like, even though she sold me out and she's with somebody else, and I'm gonna die.
Yeah,
the only thing that I want before I die is to see her one last time. I was like, yo,
yeah,
that's sweet.
Damn, that's poetry. I have two. I couldn't. I thought so many great scenes. I thought so many good moments of like good writing.
I have
good
one, and I
discussion
doubt
dialogue.
you have it. So let's hear your two.
Okay, I'll go with my less favorite of the two first.
Okay.
Well, the first time they're facing, one of the first times that the two guys are facing off, cop and drug dealer, and the drug dealer Nasir Khakzad says, "Listen, you wouldn't dare talk to me like this if we were on the outside. I want to know if you dare look me straight in the eyes. If you weren't a cop, would you dare come closer than 500 meters from me?
ببین اگه بیرون اینجا بودیم وجودشو داشتی با من اینجوری حرف بزنی نه میخوام بدونم جرأتشو داشتی بی واسطه صاف تو چشای من نگاه کنی اگه مأمور نبودی جگرشو داشتی از کمتر از 500 متری من رد چی تو نه همتون کل این بازداشتگاه.
And I just liked it because of the performance, but he made it really sound like lots of gravitas.
That was good.
Why don't you give your other one and I'll go my favorite one.
Okay, you're gonna make fun of me for this one. It's when he's talking to his ex-girlfriend. And the reason I like it is because it's like such a classic like cop movie exchange between like a suspect and a cop that I was like, oh, this is good. Like this guy's no nonsense. Like this is pretty solid. He said, She was like, the scene starts. This is how the scene starts. Before we even see her off camera, she says, how come you think everything I'm saying is a lie? And then very gently he goes, no, I don't think it's all a lie. I'm certain it's a lie. I was like, yeah.
چرا من هرچی میگم فکر میکنین دارم دروغ میگم؟
من فکر نکردم دارین دروغ میگین. من مطمئنم دارین دروغ میگین.
Yeah, that's good. When he's talking to the niece, the girlfriend, right?
The girlfriend, yeah.
Good. That's your favorite scene?
No, my favorite line. That's that's poetry. I was like, it's just like so good for the genre. Yeah. It's very typical and it's very cliche. But I like that there was this cliche exchange there, and it was delivered very well.
So my favorite line, damn it's poetry, is actually where the title comes from. He's explaining, they're essentially talking about, he's Nasser Khokzad is talking one-on-one with the judge.
Yeah.
And he's like talking about the number of victims who have died because of drug use. He's like, oh, and all of these people would have been alive if I didn't exist. Like, I'm responsible for every one of these deaths. And then he talks about, like, you benefit from the system. And he's like, listen, we couldn't pay for a kidney for my older brother when he needed a kidney transplant and he died. We bought him a shroud for 6 toman per meter. Metri shishonim. Next door, we bought some black cloth for my mother's mourning clothes for 4 toman. Who said it's us that has to constantly bear this pressure every time? Why is it us that has to always suffer?
داشت بزرگی هم پول نداشتیم واسش کلیه بخریم افتاد مرد رفتیم واسش کفن خریدیم متری 6.5 مغازه بغلیش پارچه لباس مشکی مادرم خریدیم متری 4 تومن کی گفته ما همیشه باید تحمل کنیم.
He's talking about the state of his life. How like they're just victims caught in this other system and selling drugs was his way out. And the title coming from the fact that they paid whatever money they had for this like 6.5 meters of black shroud.
No, other way around.
I guess
6.5. I thought it was that he paid 6.5 per meter.
Yeah, 6.5 per meter. Sorry, you're right. Yeah, you're right. It's just like it's very touching. And again,
yeah, I agree.
His performance is so good.
No, it was good.
Navid Mohammed Reza. Favorite performance? I just hands down Navid Mohammed Reza.
Yeah, me too.
Every scene.
Yeah,
he's so good. It might be. He's also in Layla's Brothers, and I've seen him in something else too. I can't remember off the top of my head, but this is the best thing I've seen him in.
Yeah,
the best performance.
Yeah, me too. His performance was incredible.
I think like more has to be said about Saeed Rustai's ability to like work with actors.
Yeah.
Killer performances from
very good.
Almost everyone.
Everybody, yeah. To be fair, like I don't think that there was a single weak performance in this film.
Yeah.
It's just like I think his character was the most complex, so as a result, it ended up being my favorite performance. But everyone's acting in this movie was like executed perfectly. No notes.
Festival of Cons. Well, we sort of touched on it in detail in the beginning, but it's a little bit of the structural stuff with a lot of like setting up things that didn't feel like they paid off.
Yeah.
But like one real one that stuck out to me was like this idea of like the drug dealer talks about how there was 8 kilos just to mess with the system.
Yeah.
And they only found 6 kilos. Why is the judge even entertaining the words of a criminal? Like
because
getting to the point where the cop is even like actually not held accountable.
Well,
it just seemed like
it goes back to that thing of how he already has a case that's being investigated by IA of the missing drugs.
I understand. Yeah, but I almost feel like, does that case even fall in this judge's eyes? Like, would the judge even be aware of that?
It sounds like it because he says it in the scene. He's like, Samad's like, why are you even entertaining this guy's accusations?
Yeah, he does ask him.
And he's like, well, you already have a track record of this that's currently under investigation. He's like, at the very least, I have to hold you while we look into this, while we wait for the tapes to come in.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess so. It still just kind of feels.
No, I get it. Yeah.
Even with that, I was just like, you shouldn't be listening to him.
Yeah,
like this
I
guy's
agree.
like nothing he says should be like submissible.
Yeah.
Or the cop is not on trial here.
Or see, that's why I'm like, I was expecting it to kind of go somewhere, because otherwise it just feels random. It just feels like a random little detour in the story. But if it had gone somewhere, if like they go to his house and they find that like his accomplices, the bad guy's accomplices, like stash drugs in his house, or like they go there and their girlfriend's dead, or like the other cop rat like flips on him or something, then it works. But on its own, it's like a little detour that doesn't go anywhere in the story. And I think in general, the movie was too straightforward. It needed more conflict. It needed some more twists and turns, or there were certain plot elements that could have been seen through a little more. Like when they go to the lab, the drug lab, and then it collapses on itself. Like I thought there was going to be more to that, because he's outside, he's handcuffed, his brother's in the road, and I'm thinking like, we're going to see a scene where like the brother runs over and helps him try to get loose while we're intercutting with like Samad digging through the rubble trying to pull his partners out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But his brother just leaves, and then we cut away, and then they're all like back in the jail. Which I think on the jail stuff, I think as far as pacing goes, there was too much stuff in the jail. I think that should have been shorter, or we see a little less of it. And then see more conflict outside the jail. So maybe he escapes. Maybe like something happens where he gets out on bail and he's like, why did you allow his bail? Like there should have been more. I think the movie comes to a screeching halt after the bad guy's thrown in jail. We also see him like starting to slowly win the approval of the other people in jail, almost like Caesar in Planet of the Apes, as he's like building a rebellion in the jail. I was like, oh, are we going to get like a escape scene or something? But I was like, oh, it was just too straightforward.
Your note, if I'm understanding correctly, is like this film should have had more monkeys.
More monkeys. Aside from that, I just had nitpicks like beard lengths are inconsistent, or like every time we see a gun on camera, it's like clicking, or there's like sound effects of it cocking. The scene where they like raid his apartment, it's like every other scene is like click, 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 click. And I'm like, this feels like a joke.
Yeah. Like just to add to that too, I this was a thread I had kept asking about, was like the subplot of like one of the cops having a child die doesn't play into any more other than like making it a few little character things of how Nasser Khokzad desperately doesn't want to be associated with that, which fine, but like that did feel like it was going to play out in some other way.
Yeah. Chekhov would hate this movie, by the way.
Yeah, all those guns.
Not one of them gets fired.
Double feature lineup. If you were to do this, what would you do? I can just go. I have so many. Like Soderbergh's Traffic, Scorsese's The Departed,
gotta pick one.
Denis Villeneuve's Sicario, any Michael Mann film,
gotta
really.
Pick one, comment.
David Simon's The Wire. Okay,
this is too many movies.
I pick you watch this movie and you pair it with 5 seasons of The Wire in one sitting.
That's not a movie.
Sicario then. Villeneuve's Sicario is the closest one I think that would feel like a nice matchup.
I thought of French Connection, but I feel like it would feel like such a long night, because both of those movies, I personally think, have like moments of pacing issues. I feel like people would fall asleep into the second film, whichever one comes second.
Right.
I see
what you mean.
And I think both of those, I have similar things that I really like about both of those movies, and similar things that I don't like about both of those movies. Mm-hmm. So in an attempt to make one of the movies different, but still similar enough, I would pick either Training Day or The Raid for the second one. Probably The Raid. Because at the very least, it's like, there's some things that are similar, but it's an action film at least, and it's a martial arts film, so it's different enough that you can get like 2 different kinds of movies.
surprisingly, coincidentally, I just watched Sorcerer this weekend.
Sorcerer.
Blank. Don't look. I'll look it up. I knew you wouldn't know. Same director and same lead actor. It's not Gene Hackman, but
That's The Raid?
Roy Schneider. No. Sorry, French Connection.
Oh, okay.
Sorcerer is the remake of the Clouseau film Wages of Fear, which is also excellent. I bought that on Criterion. It was like the first Criterion I ever bought.
Robinson Clouseau. I was joking.
Clouseau, yeah, Robinson Clouseau. Roy Schneider, who's the main guy in Jaws too. He's like he's
a good actor.
Detective in French Connection. He's the lead in Sorcerer, and it's the same director, William Friedkin, who also directed Exorcist.
Oh my God! I didn't even make the connection that he's the same guy in Jaws. That's so funny.
Yeah,
like the guy in Jaws and the guy in French Connection are the same person. I mean,
yeah.
Now that you're saying it, I'm like, oh, obviously they're literally the same guy.
Roy Scheider. Schneider? I can't remember. Scheider, I think. Can this be a modern Hollywood remake? I say no, but I think I know your answer. They could do an American version in English, but I think like all the themes, it's just like there's like already version, like Sicario does this.
I'm very interested in a Hollywood remake of this one. I'm not gonna lie.
You want a sequel? I feel more than a Hollywood.
I would prefer a sequel. I would prefer like Netflix convinces the Iranian government to be like, yo, let us give this guy money to make an action sequel.
Netflix convinces the Iranian.
Yeah.
You know what? While they're doing that,
bro, they're corrupt as hell. They'll take if Netflix works it into the budget to like a bribery line on the budget, then I feel like they could do it.
All right. So what do you grade this film? I mean, final thoughts and grades. I can't give it. I have to give this an A-. I really liked a lot about it. No, you know what? Let me give this one of the elusive A double minus.
Okay.
A-. I can't.
Even that is higher than I thought you'd give it.
I know, but I think the writing is so good. The performances are so good. My bigger issues are just like structural plotting and stuff.
Okay.
But like, I think the themes that play, the characters as they're written, the way the little nuances, like I said, like Samad's thing with the folder, like it's so expertly written. It's one of the strongest, like from pound for pound, scene for scene, dialogue scenes. Some of the best writing I've seen in a Iranian movie in a long time.
Interesting.
Like I was so engrossed with any of these scenes individually.
Okay.
So A double minus.
Okay, let me figure out what our average would be. Hang on.
What do you give me? Like a C?
Hang on.
Give this movie a C. You can't give this movie a C.
1 second, Covet. I'm trying to figure out the average.
A D. An F?
Okay, so I think this movie is technically very well made. I think the acting is very good. I think some of the shot selections are good. The blocking is incredible. Set pieces are great. But going back to what I said about that opening scene, that opening sequence really encompasses my feelings of the movie overall, where the premise is very well done. There are some things that I'm like, oh, this is really good. There are things that make it stand out as inherently Iranian and makes it feel different than the American version of the same movie, which I think is to the credit of the film. But I think that the movie leaves a lot to be desired. Like, I think that my appetite was not full and that there were so many areas where the movie could take twists and turns that it should have considered and it didn't. So for that, I'm giving the movie a C++, which means that our average CinemaRex rating of this film is a B.
That's surprisingly low for you.
I just the movie was way too straightforward. I like the plot. Like it goes right down the barrel of what the main character thinks is going to happen and says will happen. And like, that's exactly what happens. And then in the end, he's like, well, what's the point? And I'm like, well, I agree.
My hot take on your hot take is I feel like with time, you'll probably think you rated this too low.
You might be right.
Law of Tehran, just 6.5, or Mitri Shishanim, is a blistering high-octane crime thriller that doubles as a sobering social indictment, capturing the tragic entanglement of widespread addiction and systemic dysfunction in contemporary Iran. In the vein of The Wire, the film peels back the layers of institutional rot, police brutality, overcrowded and dehumanizing prison conditions, and a justice system more interested in optics than solutions, offering a rare, unflinching look at the machinery of enforcement. Saeed Rustai crafts a morally complex world where viewer allegiances shift constantly, revealing a society so fractured and desperate that the lines between good and evil are blurred beyond recognition. It's this instability, this refusal to offer comfort or clarity that makes Law of Tehran so effective. We leave not with answers, but with haunting questions about the nature of culpability, justice, and survival. In Rustai, we witness the emergence of a major talent, an incisive writer with an assured direction who brings out searing performances and crafts genre cinema with rare urgency and depth. Farhan June, thank you so much for talking about Law of Tehran, Just 6.5, and Metro Shishonim with me.
Thank you, Kaveh. It was a pleasure speaking with you as always.
On all three films.
Yeah, all three.
Talking about all three.
Yeah. Do I know how I feel about you?
Much. Nah, you know how I feel about you.
Yeah, you're right.
To all of our listeners, thank you for tuning in. Be sure to like and subscribe on Instagram, blah, 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 blah. Anything else?
Comments, share.
Yeah, sure.
Share them. Actually, tell your friends. Everyone who's listening, this is your job. Pull out your phone and find one person that you want to share the podcast with. In fact, on whatever podcast app you're listening to right now, a little share button, click that, and then send it to one of your friends.
Yeah. And you'll get a free t-shirt out of it.
Yeah. One of Kaveh's.
Everyone gets one of my old t-shirts I use when I clean the house.
He won't wash it either, so you know what he smells like.
Yeah. To everyone else, they owe me the didar.
Bye.